Hi there! Today we're going to be talking about how to get your own website online. My name is Steve, this is TQA Weekly. I have more than 2 decades of knowledge on this very question. And there are 3 ways you can go about it. One of them is very time consuming. And it is the method that I have used for over 2 decades. So I'm going to start talking about the 3 different methods. But I want you to focus on whether or not this is going to be a personal or a business venture, because that is very important. Because a personal venture will not take you down the path that is most expensive. But if you are in this in business, I'll give you the easiest, least expensive path, at least at the very beginning, so you don't go broke immediately. Starting off with, what do you intend to do with this website? Is this website going to have generic knowledge on it that is never changing, and therefore you can keep it like that and never have to worry about it, or rarely have to worry about it? Because if that's what you're thinking you're going to have as a website, that's a static website, and that is very easy to do. You can use services like Squarespace and Wix for that, or you can learn how to do it for yourself and use something like Bootstrap, where you could just build a website easily. I mean, Apple can do it for their own giant business. Why not you? It's not very hard to do. And that kind of website, for whether it was a personal venture or business venture, is very easy to do. And the knowledge base for that is very, very low. You don't really need all that much knowledge. What needs a lot of knowledge is when you start having to have content added to it on a periodic basis, like blogs and online stores. This is where places like Squarespace, Wix, places like GoDaddy with their blog engines are very useful for you. Because if you need to add a shopping cart or you need to add a blog or anything, having something that can be up and running in minutes is going to be very, very, very useful for you, whether it's a business or a personal venture, because at least now you can just start focusing on content, which is probably what you were interested at, if you wanted a website that you can add stuff continuously to. So you get one of these services and you use basically their website today services. So Squarespace and Wix are very much in that visual editor format. But in other places, you're going to have applications installed. That takes only a few minutes and a few clicks. But basically, you get up and running fairly quickly. If you're intending on business, you're going to want to have SSL enabled, so that HTTPS in the address bar. That will cost a little bit more depending on the service. It is integrated with some other services just as part of the base price. So if you're going into that route, using a visual editor or a pre-made application is going to be good for you, and it's not expensive. If you want to learn for yourself and build these things for yourself, you can't really learn on Squarespace, Wix, and other places like that. You will have to go to the other services that allow you to upload your own website. And in those cases, I am telling you right now, pick a language and stick with it. And learn everything that has to do with it. Obviously, if you're going to be building a website, you're going to have to learn everything about HTML and CSS and frameworks like Bootstrap, W3.css, and all those. You're going to have to learn those. They're not necessarily complicated, and I would suggest that you learn Bootstrap instead of all the other ones. And that you learn your HTML5 and your CSS3 and all that, and one other server-side language. Learning one is far easier than trying to learn everything everybody's talking about at the same time. You pick one that's fairly well documented, and you go and you move with that one. That way you can get your website up and running, and you're going to maybe need help with the shopping cart from someone else. But if you could focus all of your energy into making your website and only paying for the shopping cart part, that will be great. But if you don't need a shopping cart, then I would suggest that if you're going to build your website, pick one language and don't worry about it. If you are going to use a shopping cart, I would almost always suggest that you use a service like Squarespace, because it can be built in and you won't have to code anything. And that means there will be a lot less risk in your case. Now, we're obviously talking about personal businesses and small businesses, but if you're a medium-sized to a big-sized, large-sized business, corporate business, you're going to want to either hire a web development firm or have your own web development team at one point to build and maintain your website, and if you have a web development team, you're going to want IT too if you don't already have that, and you want them to work together because you want to be in full control of your servers, which means you're going to need your IT department to deal with all of the security and runtime issues that you will have with servers. That's for another episode. That's a lot more stuff that I don't usually handle. And your web development team will deal with some of the other stuff. Because there's a lot of stuff that we do in web development that simply is transparent in the way that is basically organized on the servers. Basically, we'll do things and the IT department's already handling how all the programming language works for us so that our stuff just works. It just works. Therefore, if you're going to have a larger business at one point, or you already have one, you're going to have a web development team. Make sure you also have an IT department handling the server, because web development is not IT. So people who can make websites, don't ask them to fix your computer. It's not the same thing. We probably could, but it is annoying. But needless to say, if it's a personal or business venture, and we're talking about static web pages, you can use Wix and Squarespace and things like that, or you can build your own small ones and upload it and have more control. If you're going up into selling stuff, you can get another party to build the shopping carts or use another service for the shopping carts, or you might want to stick with those visual editor platforms because they tend to have shopping carts already integrated. A lot less trouble for you, a lot better for inventory control at the same time, because they'll be able to have you select how much inventory is in your store or in your business at that current time. And once you get beyond that point, you definitely want to hire a professional team or have your own professional team. Otherwise, it will simply have a lot of headache, because once you get past a certain size, you want to be in complete control of that website. So how do you get your website online? Know what you're doing. Is it a business website or is it a personal website? If it's either, it doesn't matter, and you want a static web page, you can learn to build it for yourself, or you can use a visual editor service. Otherwise, you can go up and either learn a language or hire somebody else to do all the little odds and ends that would be far more complicated for a starting programmer. And once you get to a fairly decent size, get your own team, because that's how you get your website online. Start small, and at the beginning, grow your audience, grow your customer base, and with time, bring that website up with you, because that is in fact the least expensive way to get up your business or your personal website and take it off the ground and bring it up. Because at least if you're spending very little and that project fails, you didn't put too much of investment into that. And remember, with each failure is more knowledge in how to do it better next time. So if you like this episode, like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those who think would benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can see the show notes on this episode, past others, find other ways of subscribing. And of course, if you want to see me play video games, head over to twitch.tv/zaxis1981, where I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.